Something's fishy.
Hey guys, I'm Shark Zone, and in today's video, I'll be going over the top 8 best champs to one trick in the mid lane. If you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button because it really helped me out a lot. So when it comes to mid laners, there are many types of playstyles from assassins, mages, and some bruisers. Make sure when you're considering a one trick to think about what type of playstyle you like and are good at. Just because something is number 1 may not be number 1 for everyone because all champs are played differently from person to person. So starting off this list with number 8 being Zara. Zara, as we all know, is the best poke mage in the game, but sadly has a low pick rate. He's pretty solid playing versus basically everything mid game since he stands at a super long distance where no one can damage him. His ranged abilities travel somewhat slow, but when learned, can be a consistent way to take chunks of the enemy's HP. His Q hits in an AoE, so you can be chunking the enemy's backline every 5 seconds if you always land them. Mid game, after you get Ludens and some cooldown reduction, either two things will happen, which is you always getting caught out of position and dying, or you dealing the most damage in the game. Farming on him is pretty difficult and laning seems to be mediocre on him, but when learned to the core, especially when your R is up, can equal some easy kills that will get your snowball started. By snowball, I don't mean the ones like assassins where you run around the map one-shotting people, but the one where you're taking objectives so easily since they can't even stand at their tower because you're long range poke. So number 7 on this list goes to Ahri. Ahri makes it onto this list not because of her damage necessarily, but her roaming ability with R. You have so much pressure when your R is up, and you are barely playing Ahri as a mage but a slippery assassin. That R can get you from mid-river to bot lane even if it's warded. You need to always be looking for roaming opportunities on this champ because killing other laners seems to be her way of making the most impact early. She has skill shots that are hard to land, but with enough games, and especially if you're a one trick, you should be fine. Learning her damage to the core is another key aspect of Ahri because many times you will see people underestimate what Ahri can do. Charms are essential to land, and with it being a straight skill shot, you can see why it can be hard to land. Your Q seems like a simple ability to land since they pass through minions and hit many targets on the way out, but you will soon realize that it drains a lot of mana if wasted, and enemies dodge it if it's not straight dead on. She's just really strong in solo queue because she has everything she needs in a ranged assassin that can be super useful early in mid game. So number 6 on this list goes to Ekko. Ekko is such a unique bursty assassin because of the way he's played. He can't burst moving people from 100 to 0 with champions like Zed, but he has to plan out his engages mostly in the form of his W. His W is what will take some time to learn because it's tricky on the placements it should go and how to stun as many targets possible in team fights. Your damage mostly doesn't even come in the form of your abilities but your passive. His passive is what will win or lose you trades since it makes up a good half of your short trades. If you go in and Q into auto attack, if his passive doesn't proc, you will do such little damage. If you get the proc, then you are able to get a movement speed buff and escape the trade easier also. Your R will come down to mind games when it comes to pressing it. It's all determined on if your shadow is behind you, on many targets, or before you die. Ekko is able to do many things, but not one thing super well. Not saying that he's not an assassin that can one-shot you, but many of the times it will take a lot more effort than someone like Talon. Ekko can wave clear, roam, be a frontline, and assassinate squishy targets somewhat well in team fights. If able to get fed, he can turn into an ultimate assassin with so much stick potential since he has his E-dash and a lot of slows or movement speed buffs. So number 5 on this list goes to Fizz. Fizz of course is my all-time favorite champ to play in League of Legends. The reason why one-tricking him is so great is because he has a low ban rate and if learned to the core can tower dive or one-shot squishy targets very easily. Everything from his laning phase to mid-game team fights, you have to calculate how much damage you are able to do because if you don't, you will fail your mission on deleting the most important target. Your R is hard to land because it travels slow in the air and can easily get flashed. Especially in teamfights when there's many people in your face, this is where killing someone like the ADC can be difficult since you don't have your R doing reliable damage. Many times you will see people either over or underestimate how much damage Fizz is capable of doing, which will make you unsuccessful either way. Time and practice is needed on Fizz, and sure, at first he may not seem like the most mechanically difficult, but he needs to be used to the best of his ability to make it to the higher ranks. In the laning phase, you're not necessarily playing passive till 6 like most players do, because you can find moments to play aggressive and set up all-ins early. Your E can dodge important abilities thrown by the enemy, and since a lot of them are skill shots, they take tons of perfection when it comes to timings. So number 4 on this list goes to LeBlanc. I really do think this is the champ that's the hardest to learn to the core in the mid lane. You have many options with your combos, and executing one-shots on squishy targets in teamfights will be the hardest. When it comes to the laning phase, you pretty much counter everyone, and playing aggressive is a must. Winning your laning phase needs to happen every game, and when you're playing versus a skilled Anivia or a control mage, that can be difficult, but you need to find a way to get a lead anyways since you fall off so hard late game. When fed, you can literally QW people to 1/5 HP, and with Gunblade or Lichbane, your next auto attack will hurt quite a lot. Not getting super ahead can lead to you needing to combo them completely, which is hard to execute in fights since people will focus you as soon as you step up. LeBlanc is just meant for the early game, being good at everything from wave control, roaming, trading, and mini team fights. If you can play her to an advanced level, there barely feels like there's any counterplay against her, and you will be able to win so many games if you're able to close out fast. Even if you get mechanically skilled on this champ, you still need to know how to close out games with objectives. So number 3 on this list goes to Yasuo. Yasuo, of course, being a very good champ at solo carrying games and 1v5ing. He doesn't need his team at all when fed because he's tanky enough and dealing tons of damage with his 100% critical strike. How you hop around and land tornadoes is what will make a good Yasuo player, but if you don't, then you will be feeding. It's so crazy how usually when you play Yasuo for the first time, he seems easy because anyone can hop around minions and poke with Q when possible, but no one can do that right. There's a lot when it comes to Yasuo, especially during the mid game, because when you eat through that minion wave and you're slapped with CC, you will die. If you get behind on Yasuo, that will be the end for you since you will deal no damage and you're somewhat of a bruiser, which makes you not so tanky. Learning how to win versus medium difficulty matchups will take a lot of time and practice since they usually have the upper hand because their kit is easier to execute than yours. Let's say you miss your tornado, then I'm sorry to say that without your R, boom, you've missed out on 1/4 of the damage you could have dealt in that team fight, not counting the follow-up with your team. Trust me, 1/4 doesn't seem like a big number at first, but it can make the difference since it can land on their entire team, and fights are usually won with one person being super low. Playing around your passive shield is another key element in winning the laning phase alone, and without that you will fail. So number 2 on this list goes to Katarina. Katarina's main challenge comes from her dagger placements and when to go in. She deals a lot of damage, and trust me when I say it's hard to dish out. Again, especially in team fights, you need to be careful of all CC because once it hits you, you can't R. Plus on top of that, you're pretty much dead because you're so squishy. Getting a lead will actually mostly take in the form of a roam because once you get into the higher elos, then they will save their CC for when you are. You will get heavily pressured in the laning phase and pushed out of lane. Bouncing back is difficult to learn how to do because it doesn't come easy where you reach your power spike like other assassins. For example, Fizz, once he gets his R, you can do something in the laning phase or in another. Cat, sure, once she gets R, she can do something, but it can get cancelled immediately once CC'd. Don't get me wrong, Cat has power spikes with items like Gunblade or when her R is up, but hard to execute because again, it comes down to dagger placements. With proper dagger placements, then you're able to deal tons of damage onto your opponent, and one electrocute proc will leave them at super low HP. When you get your snowball started, then she starts to be the most rewarding champ because in seconds she can get a pentakill in teamfights with all the resets and win her team the game. So number 1 on this list goes to Cassiopeia. Now I totally agree, this list is opinionated and feel free to state your own in the comment section below. Sure, in season 10, who seems to dominate solo queue games are roaming assassins, but if you want to shut that down, one-tricking Cassiopeia is the best option. She takes so much time to learn, with the only thing that needs to be learned is her positioning. You can't stand in place on this champ and your damage after your Q is mind-blowing. When assassins try to dash or leap onto you, you have an ability, your W, that prevents them from doing so. It's not like you're known for your roams or global impact in the early game, but you are known for your insane damage in the mid-game teamfights and shutting down melee champions early. The way Cass is played is determined on whether you land your Q in lane. When you land your Q, then you gain movement speed and your E will do triple the damage it did originally. If you miss your Q, then you have to try to run away, since they almost always will beat you in trades even if you're super fed. Learning your Q isn't the hardest thing in the world, and what you do have to spend a lot of your time working on is kiting when people are trying to focus you. Anyways guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please smash that like button because it really helped me out a lot. Comment what you want to see next and subscribe for like this in the future. If you haven't, make sure to follow me on twitch.tv where you can watch these videos live. I'm Shark Zone here with another video, and I'm out. Peace!